Many parents are finding it impossible to opt out their children from religion classes despite their legal right to do so. That's according to campaigners. Now, several parents have spoken to the Irish Times about the difficulties they've had and are having in successfully removing their children from religious education. Michael Nugent, who's the chairperson of Atheist Ireland, is this something that you hear from members and others, both at primary and secondary level?
We do, and it's definitely your right to not attend religion class in any state-funded school. That right is protected in the Constitution and it's protected in the Education Act. And Atheist Ireland has an education website called teachdon'tpreach.ie, and if parents are in this situation, they can download letters to the school to adapt to their own circumstance to ensure that the school is aware that they know what their rights are.
Ciara was talking about secondary school here. Let's start though with primary school, because there's another story today of a student in primary school who was given homework while the rest of the class who participated in religious instruction, they were not given homework. Now, that's a punishment then, isn't it? Homework as a punishment.
It is. It's punishing children who don't attend a religious service, and it's rewarding children for the practice of a religion other than their own if they do go to that religious service. And that's not what homework is for. It's not what religious services are for. If some children don't have to do that homework, then that homework is not necessary for their education. So they're punishing children by giving them unnecessary homework. And it's part of a kind of whack-a-mole thing that the schools have been getting up to ever since they have come to realise that they can't force children to do religion class. They come up with all of these little excuses. They'll ask parents in for a meeting and ask them about their religious beliefs. They won't give them another subject. They'll tell them you have to collect the child from school. They'll tell them that you have to sit at the back of the religion class, and then this homework thing. We even had a case, we work with the Ahmadi Muslims in Ireland on secular education and with the Evangelical Alliance as well. And there was a case in Galway where a Muslim girl had ash put on her forehead on Ash Wednesday.
Right. But the thing is, and coming back to, Catholic-run school, Catholic boards of management, Catholic ethos, it's all out there. There's nothing hidden. And if you sign up to send your children to a school with a Catholic ethos, why are you surprised when what you get is a Catholic ethos-driven school with religious instruction?
And they're entitled to have that, but they're not entitled to force everybody into it if they're not Catholic. The Louise O'Keefe case, you might remember a few years back, a girl who was abused at school in Cork, and she sued the state about it. And that case went as far as the European Court of Human Rights. And what the European Court said is that the state is entitled to pass over control of the schools to a patron body, in this case the Catholic Church, but the state is still responsible for protecting the rights of children to opt out of things that are against their conscience. And they also said that the state's argument there, which was you can go to another school or even you could homeschool, which is another option, the European Court said those type of things aren't real options, that a human right, i.e. the right to education without indoctrination, that right has to be vindicatable in practice rather than just the court used the phrase.
So, Michael, do you challenge the right of the individual school then to determine the particular arrangements that are appropriate in each individual circumstance?
Well, in practical terms, they have to, because they're the ones on the ground that are dealing with it. And typically what they will say is they don't have the resources to deal with it properly. But it's one of the conditions, again from the Constitution, it's one of the conditions of having state funding for schools is that you cannot affect prejudicially the right of any child to attend the school without attending religious instruction. So what they've done is they've got state funding, a condition under the Constitution of which is to deal with this issue. They've allocated that funding elsewhere and then said we don't have the resources.
Michael, thank you for joining us. Michael Nugent there, chairperson of Atheist Ireland.